welcome to today's edition of Free Tool Friday. My name is Tyler S. Clark, the humble but oftentimes overly energetic and excited about the opportunities in front of you, leader of the Proactive Accountants community and co-founder of Dream Firms, where we help you to create generational wealth and impact by attracting and winning the business of your dream clients for accounting professionals, of course. So today's topic is about the myth of tax season. Now that might be controversial to some people because they've been in it year over year over year, and tax season, it keeps coming and it keeps smashing them over and over again in the head, and it keeps happening and they keep getting frustrated, and they keep every year one step closer to being burnt out, one more step to working another 80, 90, 100-hour work week with not even necessarily the gratitude associated with all the hours you put in from those clients. So let's do this. I want to make a comparable analogy to this. But before we do that, I want to actually break down what is the definition of the word myth. A myth is a traditional story, especially one concerning the early history of a people or explaining a natural or social phenomenon, and typically involving supernatural beings or events. Now, needless to say, there are no supernatural beings or events involved in tax season, but it is very much a tradition that has been developed by previous reactive, old school, old world thinking because of the way that, well, there's deadlines, and those deadlines are driving an increased amount of activity through your doors associated with those deadlines. And the way people have traditionally, a traditional story, have dealt with that has propagated into the future. And that means that we are now looking at it saying, well, it's always been done this way. It's always the way it's been. The myth is that it does not need to be that way, right? People used to believe that if you go over the edge of that, you're going to fall off the end of the earth. That was a story that we told ourselves again and again and again and again, and it was not true. And so this idea that you have to be overworked, underappreciated, deal with every phone call that comes your way, all the things that are typically associated with this time of year does not need to happen. It does not need to be the case. And the second definition of a myth is a widely held but false belief or idea. So again, the key here is that it's not that tax season doesn't exist, but what we tell ourselves about tax season, if you continue to tell yourself that you have to put up with things the way they've always been, and this is the way it's always been done, and this is just what we have to go through, guess what you're going to get? The same thing you've always gotten. And so meaningful change doesn't start by doing what you've always done. It's about reflecting about what you believe in and whether or not that should be the case. If you feel underappreciated because you're working too hard, if you feel like you're not making the money you deserve because your clients don't appreciate you because you're not charging the right amount, if you feel like you have to take the next call that comes your way because you don't know where the next call is coming from, if you feel like you got to put in another 80, 90 hours per week because you can't find the help you need, if you feel anything like this or more, it's going to continue to be the case if you don't actually change first how you think about it, and then the actions you take to change the results you're getting. Unhappy with your prices? Raise them. Unhappy with your clients? Fire them. Unhappy with the how much work you have to do? Hire them, right? Get the help you need. There are all solutions to these problems, but if you keep believing that there are no solutions and it has to be pure chaos for the next 90 plus days, chaos is what you will have. If you believe that myth, please continue to keep believing it. If you want to believe a different, better story where you don't work 80 hours, you work a normal 40, or maybe you only work 20 because of how good your prices are in line, because of how much your clients love you, because of how systemized your fulfillment is. If you want to believe that story, it starts with belief. It starts with testing those ideas. It starts with doing things differently than how they traditionally or historically have been done. That is how we're going to break this myth. And I know that all the people listening to this, all the hashtag proactive down in the comment section down below, you're the type of people who are creating an all new story that is true, that things can and should be different, that you deserve better. And you do. You do. People need this. They need your help. Financial guidance, stewardship, it couldn't be any more important than it is today. And if people can't see that and they can't recognize it, part of your responsibility is to help them to understand that and see it, to tell them a new story. Their myth is, my finances are my finances. It's never going to change. And when you hear that, you go, no, it can be different, right? It should and it can be different. So let me show you how it can and should be different, because your finances, right, they're what unlocks the dream life you want. If you can make sure that that we can navigate the tax laws, because we actually can do that. And they're believing, no, the tax laws are only for the rich, right? Like that can't possibly be for me. And I'm paying too much in taxes. That's just the way it's always been. That's a myth that they are believing. And there are myths that you are believing as well. And if you can't see that, your responsibility, just like my responsibility, is to help break those chains of false belief that are holding us back from the power of a dream firm, the power of a dream life. That is our responsibility to our clients, to our communities. So my humble request to you is this: reflect, ask powerful questions. Does it need to be this way? Should it be this way? And if the answer is it should be better, what are you going to do to change that? And if you want my help to change as efficiently as possible, I'd love to work with you. Just to say it out loud, I'd love to make sure that you prioritize making this tax season fundamentally different. And if you want to do that, there will be an opportunity to do so somewhere in the link or comment section down below. Book a call, learn about what the Create Your Dream Firm program has to offer to you, but only if you're willing to stop believing in the myth that things have to be hard. They don't have to be hard. They don't. We can simplify it. We can take complexity out. We do need to put in hard work to change, but change is worthwhile. And I believe that you're capable of doing it. So that's what I've got for you today on Free Tool Friday. Don't believe the myth. Your clients are believing myths. It's our responsibility to break those and install what they need to be believing that can fundamentally lead to the life that they want to have. So one last rally, hashtag proactive down below. My name is Tyler S. Clark. Thank you so much for checking in for today's Free Tool Friday. Remember that only you can create your dream firm, but we help you every step of the way. Have a great weekend, everyone.